Alright, let's talk design patterns. Design patterns are reusable solutions to commonly occurring problems in software designs. So for example, consider that you do not really know how to drive a car, and depending on what car you have, the way to drive a car might be different. So there is a pattern to driving an automatic car, and there is a pattern to driving a manual car. So, and so just like there are different patterns to solving your problem of not knowing how to drive, in software designs for commonly occurring problem, for there are commonly defined solutions available to them, which we call them as design patterns. So design patterns help you with communication as well. So for example, uh, since these are well defined and well-known keywords in the industry. If you come across a problem that somebody already knows about, they can just hint you that they can just hint you with the keyword. So, for example, oh, maybe this looks like a constructor problem. Maybe you would want to use a factory pattern there. So this factory pattern is a keyword which is a design pattern, and then you can just Google it, and this helps with communication as well, and you can just go around with doing your stuff. So apart from solving your communication worry, you might already use some design patterns. So for example, the libraries that you use to accomplish tasks. Since libraries are written to solve problem at scales, it is important that they follow some specific patterns so that their code is more elegant. What is a good pattern? So obviously, a pattern should be something that is not a solution to something very trivial. It has to be the problem has to be big enough so that it can be discussed widely and an elegant solution can be reached. Apart from that, the concept has to be proven, which means that you should be aware about where to use the pattern, where it fits, where it will bring in some disadvantages. So a pattern has to be documented well enough and has to be researched well enough before formalizing it as a pattern and being discussed widely. So these are some characteristics of a good pattern. Apart from that, a good pattern must also specify its relationship with code, which means that a good pattern should also document how to use that pattern and what are the specifics of that pattern. Apart from that, let's move on to anti-patterns. Interesting, anti-patterns. So anti-patterns appear like a pattern, but almost always have a loophole somewhere and will pose problems. So they might look like a very elegant, beautiful solution to your problem, but might have some side effects. So these are generally these anti-patterns are generally encountered while researching about if one pattern is good or not. So if we consider that a pattern represents a best practice, an anti-pattern represents a lesson that has been learned. So to summarize, an anti-pattern is a bad design that is worthy of documenting to stop it from being used, because from the very first sight it appears like, oh, this is a solution. So some examples of anti-patterns in JavaScript are polluting your global namespace by defining a large number of variables in the global context. And another one is modifying the object class prototype. It is particularly a well-known and a poorer pattern to work with.